Now, the COP28 was a landmark event to address and adapt to climate change and concluded earlier this month with the UAE Consensus. Now, more and more companies than ever feel the need to incorporate climate change in their core business strategy. Joining us in the studio to discuss more is Rania Laing. Thank you very much for joining us, Rania. You are the CEO at Purposeful Innovators, right?
That's right.
Thank you for joining us. Now, how does the UAE Consensus that came out at COP28 impact UAE businesses?
Well, the UAE Consensus was unprecedented in the history of COPs. This year, with the presidency of the UAE, the parties acknowledged the need to transition away from fossil fuels. And for the UAE to meet its net zero target of 2050, there will need to be a domino effect, if you like, and an impact on businesses to start implementing their own net zero targets.
Now, how much can the private sector really help in decarbonization? How effective can they be?
Well, the private sector accounts for 90% of businesses in the UAE and also in other countries.
Right.
So for the UAE to achieve its targets, the private sector is going to need to come on board as well.
But in what ways?
There's many things that the private sector can do. So
how much can they really contribute, and how well? In what ways? That's the
innovation is one of the primary ways that the private sector can come on board, and the investment is we're seeing investment already there with regards to sustainability investment, impact investment, and governments offering incentives.
Okay.
So there's a lot of incentive already for the private sector. Also, customers are well literate on carbon reduction, and consumers are demanding more sustainable products and services.
What actions can they take in their, let's say in certain firms take to move away from, creating so much carbon footprint?
Well, the first step is always going to be education.
Right.
So becoming carbon literate in an organization is a cultural change that we haven't had so far in business. So carbon literacy as an educational program is really important, so that employees and culture can start understanding the science behind the carbon.
Right.
And from there they can develop their own ideas and strategies that relate to their role in the organizations.
Now, for companies to move away move away from the way they currently do business, it's going to take some investment. Obviously, that needs to be done. Now, for businesses also, they need their opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities that could be created once you really start moving with the UAE Consensus. What opportunities will it create for businesses?
Well, as I said earlier, there's already customer demand for more environmentally sustainable products, and that's only going to increase with each new generation that's coming through.
So customers want recycled items, or they don't want to use plastic, or they want to use less paper. Is that
lower carbs, and like I said, a move away from the fossil fuels.
Right.
So the environmental impacts of businesses and how they develop their products and services will need to move away from fossil fuels. So like you say, less plastics. There's also less energy usage, so water efficiency, energy efficiency,
definitely.
and a transition, like I said, away from traditional forms of energy, and then efficiencies in the manufacturing processes,
Definitely.
And an awareness as well of what kind of carbon impact the footprint has been the result of shipping, for example, and logistics.
You did mention earlier about education.
Yeah.
But that's the first step of getting people to move forward. What other ways? How do you start the journey in lowering carbon emissions? And there's so much that can be done, but so little that is being done. Tell us about that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, we always say that education's the first step, and by empowering individuals in organizations to really develop their own understanding of their carbon impact, but also empower them to make adjustments within their role and come up with ideas and pledges within their organisation. It's really tapping into the motivation, the values of the culture, and bringing that, if you like, carbon empowerment into how the business develops its staff. And from there, you get the seeds of new ideas, new inspiration, and
it's a
new
domino effect
directions.
at the end of the day. Rania Laing, CEO of Purposeful Innovators. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you
Pleasure.
very much.